Hey everyone, it is Wednesday. You are listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key and I'm back. I was out Wednesday last week because I was quarantining. I did not have the vid. My daughter, who is with me, had the vid and I tested negative, but I had to quarantine. So I want to thank Mr. Thaxter Arterberry for being so generous and kind with his time and his talents and sitting in for me. Thank you, Thaxter. Thank you for an awesome job and for all of the great information that you fed to the audience during my absence. And y'all keep on listening because Thaxter will probably be back because I will be out again. The California Association of Real Estate. Wait a minute, am I getting that right? California Association of Real Estate Brokers, KREB. That is the Black Foundation of Real Estate Brokers and Agents in the state of California is having its annual conference in Los Angeles in October in about 3 weeks. And so your girl will be down there. I'll be down there getting all that good information, all that good. And Thaxter may be sitting in for me again because that's a week-long conference. So just a heads up, middle of October. And so today's show is more affordable California housing solutions. And before we jump into that, I just want to remind you all that Selling Sacramento is brought to you by Matthews and Company Realty Group, where I am the broker and owner, and I love helping you buy, sell, and retain real estate. So if you are interested in buying or selling, or as I say, just having the conversation, go to my website at agentkee.com, agentkee.com. And at the top of the site, you will see several different options on how to connect with me. Utilize the best that's best for you. And while we're on the subject of connectivity and connecting, you can also, and we encourage you, if you have questions or comments or feedback, we are on Facebook Live. We are now on LinkedIn. Hey, LinkedIn fam. We are on YouTube and Twitter. So if you type Selling Sacramento Agent Key Live in your Google search or your search bar, 9 times out of 10, it will bring up one of those areas where the show is being broadcast to you live for you to view. And I also say that because go to the chat, put in your comment while you're watching, wherever you're watching. So for example, if you're watching on YouTube, you can't see everybody else that's watching. You're only watching the people, you can only see the people who are watching on YouTube. But there are people that are watching from all over, and just know that you are not alone. So say something in the comments, put something in the chat. Let us know that you're there. Let us know that this information is valuable to you or what information you'd like to hear about. I am hopeful that we have some potential developers watching and listening today, because this information that I'm going to share today is going to be beneficial to you. If you are looking to collaborate on any development projects with the state of California, you want to be listening to this show. If you're looking for land opportunities, if you're looking for affordable housing investment opportunities specifically, if you are a developer who has a heart for developing affordable housing opportunities, you want to be tuned in to today's show. If you know of someone who is looking to do that, you want to share this information with them. So, Governor Newsom announces new state sites identified for affordable housing, and he signs legislation to boost housing on state property. And so this information was just published. Today is the 21st. It was published September 19th. That was just a couple of days ago. 5 state-owned sites identified for housing. 5 state-owned sites have been identified for housing as part of the Excess Land for Affordable Housing Executive Order. So what is the Excess Land for Affordable Housing Executive Order? It is Executive Order N-06-19. And I'm going to read it to you. Executive Order N-619 says, whereas California is experiencing an acute affordable housing crisis that stifles economic growth, contributes to the homelessness epidemic, consumes an ever-growing share of the paychecks of working families, and holds millions of households back from realizing the California dream, and whereas nearly 50% of California's households cannot afford the cost of housing in their local market, 50%, you all. Whereas for decades, California has failed to build enough homes for its growing population at all income levels, ranking 49th in the country in housing production per capita in 2016. And whereas restrictive zoning and land use policies at the local level are a major cause of the shortfall between California's housing needs and the available supply of housing, and whereas when communities do not build their fair share of housing, the surrounding region must absorb new residents who, as a consequence of a lack of access to affordable housing, suffer from higher rents and longer commutes, and whereas the high cost of land also significantly limits the development of affordable housing in areas with the greatest demand for new housing, and whereas state agencies own thousands of parcels of land throughout the state. I'm going to repeat that. This is factual, ladies and gentlemen. State agencies own thousands of parcels of land throughout the state, some of which, here is the clincher, exceed those agencies' foreseeable needs. It's just sitting there doing nothing. Whereas excess state land is often located in or near urban areas where the need for new housing is acute, and whereas the lack of affordable housing across California is a matter of vital statewide importance, and that was importance, I kind of swallowed that. And whereas expanding housing opportunities and solving the affordable housing crisis will require a new level of innovation and cooperation between the public and private sectors. And whereas fostering housing innovation will catalyze new construction industries and spur job growth in the state. And the last whereas, local zoning ordinances do not govern the use of state property, and the state possesses legal authority to enter into low-cost, long-term leasing agreements with housing developers and accelerate housing development on state-owned land as a public use. I like where this is going. Now, therefore, I, Gavin Newsom, states he is the governor of the state of California by virtue of the power and authority vested in him and the Constitution of the state of California, hereby issue this order to become effective immediately. And so before I'm going to see how much of this, I'm going to read the first 3 parts of the order, and then we're going to take a break. But I want to tell you, based on all of that information, it's hereby now ordered. This is just as of 2 days ago, ladies and gentlemen. So if you've not seen this in the news, if you've not seen any articles about it, if you've not heard about it, then you're hearing about it here first. The Department of General Services shall create a digitized inventory of all state-owned parcels that are in excess of state agencies' foreseeable needs by, among other things, conducting a comprehensive survey of all state-owned land. This inventory shall be completed by no later than April 30th, 2019, To meet this deadline, all agencies under my direct executive authority shall support this effort by responding to all inquiries made by the Department of General Services. So this site was supposed to be done by 2019, and I want you all to know, so this order that I'm reading is not what's new. What's new is that he has signed legislation to boost housing on state property. The order, the website for excess land for affordable housing, there's actually a website that you can go to and see right now. It's a published inventory of excess land. And let's see here. The best way to find it would probably be to search executive order, no. Development of state-owned property, published inventory of excess land. If you search that, you'd probably find it. And it should be under the DGS website, dgs.ca.gov. So if you're a developer or a potential developer and you're listening to this and you're trying to figure out, how do I find out where this excess land is? How do I get involved? I'm giving you the information right now. I will, if you're watching, I'll put the link to the site in the chat, and dgs.ca.gov. It's a long link, so I don't really, I'll give it to you. If you've got a pencil and a piece of paper, I'll give it to you slowly. /projects-list-affordable-affordable-housing-development. This is very important because if you are not a part of the solution, you are a part of the problem. We can sit around and say housing is not affordable. But as you can see, this is an effort that's being made to reach out. This is public information. This isn't one of those situations where they're just pointing it at the good old boys network and only making it available to a chosen few. Gavin Newsom has put this out there and is saying whosoever will. This is information that I'll be presenting to the Realtist organization because we have a development arm now, and we are able to present projects to the group. But it's not for you to say, oh yeah, Realtist, y'all need to do it. No, you need to do it too. We all need to do it. That's part of the problem, is that we leave it up to somebody else to do it. We all need to do it. If you are able, if you know someone, if you're thinking about getting into development, the opportunities to learn about development are out there. Don't allow the word to intimidate you. Either we stay intimidated by the process and fall prey and have to succumb to somebody else making the rules that we can't afford, or we get involved and we learn as much as we can and make it happen the way that we want to make it happen. So I'm going to take a break before I get into number 2. I thought I'd be able to read at least 3 parts of that order, but it's 1:14, so I'm going to take a break. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and we will be right back. Hey, Ms. Tiffany, thank you for tuning in. Yes, ma'am, it is definitely about time that they use that excess land. I was going to say we all knew that it was out there, but I don't think that there's so much that we just take for granted on a daily basis. We pass by stuff. We just, right there in our own neighborhoods, we don't even realize. Right here in the city of Sacramento, we don't realize how valuable the city of Sacramento is to people not watching it. It's that thing, like almost like you're so close to the situation, you don't see what you have. Yeah. And so it's kind of like the same thing. So, hey, Miss Nikki, yes. So we have to kind of stop and smell the roses. I like to call it stop and do a reset. And like, wait a minute, what have I been? I've been in the zone for a minute. Let me snap out of it. Instead of complaining about not having enough money, I'm on a job and they don't pay me enough. Really? Are you on a job that doesn't pay you enough, or are you on a job that pays you that amount? They may pay other people other amounts, but that's the amount that they're paying you. And so you could possibly have more, right? And I think about jobs too. We limit ourselves by these jobs. Oh, I can't afford to live in Sacramento because I only get another job. Enhance your skills, do something different. Don't complain about the state. That ain't going to change. Sacramento is not getting cheaper. California is not getting cheaper. The cost of living anywhere is not getting cheaper. When you go somewhere else that is more affordable to live than Sacramento or California, there's something else you're losing in the process, right? There's something else you are losing in the process. If you go to, come on now, all I have to do is just visit. You're welcome. We visit places like Texas. This was before I went natural. I used to wear a perm. You ladies that live in Texas, y'all already know where I'm going with this. Went to Texas, went to Houston, sitting outdoors. You're welcome. You're welcome. You have to step out of your comfort zone. Sitting outdoors at the restaurant, like a Bubba Gump's type place. Mm-hmm. My hair was straight. It was cute. At first. Right. You already know what happened. Yes. I was like, what is happening with this weather? It rained. It went from Hey everyone, we're back. And unless you're watching live on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, in between the breaks, I'm chatting with the people that are watching about, I'm just venting because I think we take for granted, and I'll just kind of reiterate, we take for granted where we live. We take for granted the things that are around us, and we think somebody else is taking care of it. It's kind of like when our kids live in the house and you change the toilet paper roll. You fill up the supplies with the toothpaste and all that, the soap, you replenish all of that. They just live in there. They just enjoying the fruits of your labor. You paying the bills. And then they got the nerve to cop an attitude when you tell them they can't go out or they can't do something, or you put a boundary or a limitation that stops them from doing what they feel they got a right to do. Or coming to you because they want a cell phone because their other friends have one, and just demanding stuff. And you're looking at them like, so that's kind of how you want to. And what we do with our children is that we hopefully instill in them the skill set to be independent, so that when they get older, they can make right decisions and provide for themselves. Get their own place to live, provide their own resources, they can stay out of your pocket. Some of us in California and Sacramento, we get so relaxed and complacent with the government providing for us. We don't ever even look at the opportunity or the fact or the thought that maybe we need to cut the ties and the strings and become more independent. We don't have to wait for someone else to do it. So that's kind of what I was talking about during the break. I was using the analogy of, I was saying that when you leave Sacramento and California because it's too expensive to live here, you go somewhere else, you are going to miss out on something. There's something that's going to be taken away from you when you leave California. You pay a lot for the amenities of California. If you've ever gone to Texas and you have natural hair, if you're a Black woman, or I won't even say Black woman, if you are a naturally curly haired person and you decide you want to straighten your hair bone straight, because you didn't went to, I won't even mention any hair salons, but y'all know, and you got that bone straight, pretty natural hair, and you step out of the airport in Houston and you now have an afro, that is what you will leave to go to a more affordable place. And I can't even say Houston is even more affordable. It's still more affordable. I take that back. It is still more affordable. Lots of places in Texas are still more affordable. But the point is that there is a trade-off. There is a trade-off. So let me get back because this list is long. So I'm sharing these affordable housing opportunities, more affordable housing opportunities in the state of California, specifically Governor Gavin Newsom. He has signed an executive order and he wants to start teaming with local developers in the state of California. And they are asking each state, they have already asked each state to identify where their excess land is located. That excess land has already been published on a website. There's a published inventory of excess land. And now Governor Gavin Newsom is leaning in and he's saying he wants this to move forward. He wants to start identifying these developers who want to develop affordable housing and get it built ASAP. So the order has existed for a few years now. Gavin Newsom is saying, let's open the floodgates. Where are the developers? Let's make this happen. So number 2 states in the order, the Department of General Services, the Department of Housing and Community Development, and the Housing Finance Agency shall collaborate to develop 2 new screening tools for prioritizing affordable housing development on excess state land. The tools shall be designed to identify and evaluate parcels of excess state land where housing development is most likely to be economically feasible, accounting for, among other factors, of parcel size, shape, grading, adjacencies, potential for consolidation, lack of site constraints, and proximity to job centers, education, high frequency, public transportation networks, utilities, and other services and amenities, and where underproduction is impacting housing affordability, accounting for, among other factors, availability of affordable housing in the job and commute sheds, the gap between supply and demand, and the rate of increase in rent. Those are all important because what this is saying, what this is not saying is that they're going to just try to put the housing anywhere. The housing is not just going to pop up back in some warehouse industrial, out of boundary, near nothing locations. They're saying we are shaping where this housing is going. So it's actually not only meeting their needs, it's going to serve several different purposes, right? Both tools shall be developed no later than March 29, 2019. And as I stated, the tool is already developed. The website is already there. What I'm doing right now is reading to you all so that you know, you have heard it here, that Executive Order N619, Executive Order N619 exists. And the news release from yesterday that Gavin Newsom issued to develop state-owned property, he is announcing, or he has announced 2 days ago, that they have identified new state sites for affordable housing. So after I read the order, I'm going to tell you where the sites are located that they've identified. So the order is building the foundation of where this is coming from. And the sites are going to put the meat on the bone. So the Department of General Services, in consultation with the Department of Housing and Community Development, shall apply the new screening tools to the state's inventory of excess state real property. GSA shall generate a comprehensive map of excess state real estate parcels where development of affordable housing is feasible and will help address regional underproduction. Where appropriate, number 4, state agencies shall consider exchanging excess land with local governments for other parcels for purpose of affordable housing development and preservation. Parcels shall be exchanged with the goal of maximizing regional capacity to build and preserve affordable housing units. Number 5, the Department of General Services, in consultation with the Department of Housing and Community Development, shall issue requests for proposals on individual parcels and accept proposals from developers of affordable housing interested in entering into low-cost, long-term ground leases of parcels on the priority map. And here is part A, B, and C of that. Requests for proposals shall address the number of housing units to be built and preserved, maximization of land resources and level of affordability, feasibility of breaking ground within 2 years of entering the lease and completing the units within 3 years, and the individual cost of construction, the use of renewable construction materials such as cross-laminated timber, and the developer's demonstrated capacity to complete affordable housing projects. Selection of projects shall catalyze and incubate innovative models for construction, such as modular or prefab, financing, and workforce development. So they're trying to do a whole wraparound package, not just building the homes, but making sure they're cutting edge as far as the materials and the construction costs that are going into it, the financing, making sure that it's built so that it is affordable, and then workforce development. So those individuals who are actually going to be working on the projects, these different projects will be creating job opportunities. So remember earlier, I think I said it during the break, if you're watching, I was talking about if you're working on a job and you say, oh, this job doesn't pay me. No, the job pays you what the job you're doing pays. The company you work for may have other positions that pay more money, but that for the qualifications and the skill set that you have, that's what you're being paid. And if you want to make more money, what do you need to do? And up your skill level. Don't sit around and complain about not having enough money. Don't complain about the system. The system is and always has been and always will be the system because someone else has put systems and processes in place so that they can produce and make income where they're generating wealth. So we're all operating within other people's systems and processes that they've set up. That's not to say that you can't set up your own systems and processes. If you think about it, every time the new year comes up, what do we all do? We set out to create a system and process. You know what that's called? A New Year's resolution. The problem with New Year's resolutions is that they don't last because you don't really put any meat to the bone. We talk about the vision. The vision is the first part of building the system and the process. But with building the system and process, you then, after you have the vision, you've got to create goals. What are the goals to get to the vision? And then you break down the goals in tasks. You got to identify the tasks to get to each goal. And when you identify the tasks, that is then where the systems and processes come into place. All of those tasks are what I like to call income producing activities. When you identify what the income producing activities are, you then know what you should be doing and what you should not be doing. So we're all working within the confines of someone else's systems and processes. Whether it's the states, the cities, the governments, private industry, if you work for a small organization or a large organization, if you work for yourself and you are doing well, your company is more than likely systematized and you've got processes in place. So with this, creating a workforce development means that if you're on a job, what I see this as is an opportunity for someone who might be working a job where they're thinking, I don't want to do this anymore. Well, here's another opportunity that's coming up for you to learn a new skill set. Workforce development. The bidding requirements shall include commitments to pay prevailing wages as required under the law. The Department, number 6, the Department of General Services, in consultation with the Department of Housing and Community Development, shall begin to implement the above selection no later than September 30th, 2019. Number 7, the Department of General Services, the Department of Housing and Community Development, and other state agencies and departments shall use all existing legal and financial authority to expedite and prioritize these developments, including by giving them preference in the award of state funding pursuant to my further direction, Gavin Newsom. Agencies not under my direct executive authority are requested to do the same. It's further ordered that as soon as hereafter possible, this order shall be filed with the Office of Secretary of State, and widespread publicity and notice shall be given in this order, so on and so forth. So that is signed by our Governor, Gavin Newsom, Executive Order N-619, that sets the stage for his announcement, which says Governor Gavin Newsom announced today, that was September 19th, that the California Department of Housing and Community Development and the California Department of General Services are seeking qualified developers to develop housing on 5 state-owned properties. This is the latest offering under one of the first executive orders in 619 that I just read, that Governor Newsom issued upon taking office in 2019, creating the Excess Land for Affordable Housing program. To date, this successful program has brought 16 partnerships between the state affordable housing developers and local communities to produce sustainable, innovative, and cost-effective housing on state-owned excess sites, creating a pipeline of more than 4,400 new homes in various stages of development. Governor Newsom also announced the signing of SB 561 by Senator Bill Todd, Assemblymember Sharon Quirk Silva, and Assemblymember Kevin McCarty, all passed by the legislature to create more affordable housing and codify and build upon the success of the Excess Land for Affordable Housing program. And there's a quote here by Assemblymember Silva saying, California's housing affordability, this quote is by Gavin Newsom. California's housing affordability crisis has been more than a half century in the making, and the state is tackling this foundational challenge with an innovative all-of-the-above approach. He said, we've made unprecedented investments and progress to create more housing in California over the past 4 years, including using state-owned land to build homes. And he said it's one of his first actions in 2019. He said he's thankful to Senator Dodd, Assemblymember Quirk Silva, and Assemblymember McCarty for their efforts in helping fast track the progress and bring more affordable housing statewide. And so this announcement, sites announced today, aim to create hundreds of new housing units for low-income Californians. They include former office buildings of the State Water Resources Board in Fresno, former offices of the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation in Covina, a single-story commercial building in Midtown Sacramento, a vacant California Department of Transportation site in Oceanside, and a buffer zone near the Atascadero State Hospital in Atascadero. And those are the 5 sites. And I thought I had some more information about the specific sites. I will look for that. But I want to go to the chat real quick because I always like to acknowledge those folks that are watching and making sure that I answer any questions they might have. Let's see here. Oh, Miss Tiffany, thank you for putting that link in there. Thank you. Ronald, thank you for watching. Yes. And so Tiffany had some comments about another comment that I made earlier. But so this is an opportunity for us to get involved. If you know of any organizations or companies that have done affordable housing, even on a smaller scale, this is an opportunity to get involved and become a part of the solution and not be part of the problem. So I wanted to make sure that I share that information. I don't think I've seen this in the news anywhere that these sites are out there. And I don't like to say I haven't seen it in the news because these days, what we see on the news automatically populates oftentimes, especially if we get our news on the internet or social media feeds. It only pulls up the things that it knows that we've been really interested in, And so it may have been talked about by different news outlets and I just may have missed it. But I want to make sure that I'm intentional about searching this information out and bringing it to you all so that you know it's out there. So if you are watching on social media, Miss Tiffany did me a favor and posted the link in the chat to the affordable housing order. And I'm going to post in the chat the map so that you can see where all of this excess housing. Oh, wait, no, she posted. I think she posted the link to, she posted the link to the map. So if you're watching on social media, the link to the map is posted in the chat. So you can grab it there and see where all of this excess land is. And it's all over the state of California. I'm clicking on it now to see how much of it is around Sacramento. But while that's loading, there's some other stuff that I want to talk to you all about today with regard to affordable housing. We are now in September. I was going to say October, just a few more days, 10 days, and we will be in October. This year has literally zoomed on by. And if you think about when the year was started, what plans did you have for yourself? What goals or visions did you have for yourself? I know a lot of people made a New Year's resolution that this year they were going to be a homeowner. And I want to encourage you to not lose sight of that. And there's a reason that I want to encourage you to not lose sight of that. Owning a home builds your net worth. One of the biggest problems that people complain about in California is that it's too expensive. If you were a millionaire, or not even a millionaire, if you made the amount of money necessary to live here in California, that wouldn't be your gripe. Home ownership is almost a financial requirement if you live in California because of the benefits of home ownership. And that is building your net worth. In 5 to 10 years, I know that there are probably some people listening right now who've been renting for 5 years or 10 years or 15 years or more. Every time you write that check, that rent check, or make that payment, that is money you will never see again. You will never see that money again. The difference between owning your home and how it builds your net worth versus renting the home is that when you pay that monthly rent, it goes to the landlord, who then pays down their mortgage of a house that you're living in, that's building equity for them over time. But when you make monthly mortgage payments, if you owned that home, you're building equity in your home. It's almost like a forced savings account. Your home equity grows even more as your home appreciates in value over time. And so that has a major impact on the wealth that you build. So, in other words, like I was saying, when you own your home, you have the advantage of your mortgage payment acting as a contribution to a forced savings account. It grows in value when as your home does. And so when you sell, any equity you've built up comes back to you. Again, as a renter, you will never, ever, ever see a return on the money you pay out in rent every month. So let's break out the calculator. Average rent in Sacramento County right now. And I won't even say right now, because I want to use 5 years, a 5-year window. So let's say the average rent 5 years ago in Sacramento County, and when I say average, thinking like a 3-bed, 2-bath, was probably around $1,800 a month, $1,900 a month. I'll just take a conservative $1,800 a month times 12, $21,600. $21,600 times 5. Do y'all even want to know the number? Don't even want to know it. You don't want to know it. $108,000. So you're only paying $1,800 monthly, right? You're thinking, woo, when you get that payment off. But you multiply that times 365 days times 5. That's $108,000. And you didn't think you had any money. You had $108,000 over that 5 years that could have been going into your own home. And I know that for a lot of people, coming up with the down payment or having the right credit is the issue. But those are things that are solvable. So we can't even use that as an excuse. The only thing that we can use as an excuse right now is just how high the interest rates are in comparison to the home values, which don't equate to the house that you probably want to have. But let me let you all in on a little secret. Interest rates are being increased on purpose to indirectly get sellers to bring these prices down. If you are in the market looking for a house, keep this in mind. Just because you see a price that a home is listed at doesn't mean that's what it has to sell for. A list price is equivalent to the seller's desire of what they think their home is worth. But at the end of the day, a home is going to sell for what the buyer thinks the home is worth. You. That's why we say it's a buyer's market, ladies and gentlemen. Take advantage. Take advantage. This is one of those opportunities that is setting you up. You are being given an alley-oop. Is that the right word? You are being given an alley-oop, a setup right there at the net. All you got to do is just, Dosey said, right off the rim, into the basket. I have several buyers who are getting ready to close transactions on some beautiful homes within these next 7 days. I'm excited to say that one of those buyers is from the program that we did a soft launch on last month. And you'll be hearing a lot more about it, because I know this is what we've been waiting for. You just have to be willing to do the work. Let me get back to the buyer. Our Selling SAC 100 Club, where our goal is to get 100 buyers into home ownership within the next year. We're closing our first buyer in a few days. So I'm excited about that. We have a handful of buyers right now, a handful of people who are working on being pre-qualified with my lender partners. They're doing the work. They just said, we want to do the work. Some of them are getting ready. Some of them have been pre-qualified and aren't where they want to be with the numbers, but they're working on that piece. Some of them have been able to see that they've got some credit stuff to work on. And so we're plugging them into the right resources to work on that credit, but they're going to be ready over these next several years. It doesn't matter. Do not wait for the market to drop. Number one, we don't know if that's even going to happen. I doubt it, because inventory is still the issue. So we're not going to see the market plummet. But I think I've expressed before that we are probably going to see the numbers get settled back down to pre-COVID. We'll probably see the rates do a little decrease over the next couple of years as those numbers get settled back down and as more inventory becomes more available. I'm going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about this a little bit more. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the program. If you're interested in not seeing that you've paid over $100,000 in 5 years in rent, you're going to want to stay tuned. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I'm Agent Key, and we'll be right back. Hey, y'all. Of course, you're not letting the owner get the benefits of you paying rent. Yes. You benefit more from a higher rate, and a house with a lower price, you have a lower rate, but a higher house price. And ultimately, the bottom line is that you're in your own property, and no matter, the market is always going to fluctuate. Rates are always going to fluctuate. But what's consistent, what's solid? The value in that property is doing this year after year after year after year. And it might go down as it's going up, and it might go down as it's going up, but it's still going up and up and up. And you're not paying rent to somebody else. You're not paying off somebody else's mortgage. And can't nobody give you a 60-day notice. And can't nobody tell you can't change the color of your walls, or, that you can't put a swimming pool in the backyard, or that you can't change the cabinets. You don't have to go through anybody. It's yours. It's yours. That's what we're trying to get at. Get out of that renting mentality. And don't complain about not being able to afford it. Do something about your lack of affordability. Get the extra job. Up your skill set. The first response to unaffordable housing shouldn't always be, well, let me move somewhere where it's affordable, because you're just going to encounter whatever problems that come with the affordability wherever you're at. Alligators in the gutters, tornadoes dropping out of the sky, whatever the case may be. It ain't going to be California. I say alligators in the gutters because my brother lives in Richmond Hill, Georgia. They got alligators in the gutters, just walking along. Yeah, I ain't trying to do all that. Ron said, please recognize that you'll have the opportunity to refinance at some point along with the appreciation of your home. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that point up, Ron. I'm going to make that point on the air, and I'm going to give you credit, sir, because that is another beautiful piece of it. And I think a lot of people have a little fear about, well, what if the rates keep going up? You're still in your own house. Still in your own house. Yeah. So we're coming back from break. Hey everyone, we're back. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key. And while we were on break, Ron Bennett, a lender friend of mine who lives out of state but has done lending here in California before, brought up a very good point in the comment section. He said, recognize that you'll have the opportunity to refinance at some point along with the appreciation of your home. So if you do purchase a home right now where interest rates are a little bit higher, there is an opportunity that they possibly, and I say opportunity and possibly because no one has a crystal ball, but rates do what rates do. They go up and they go down. No one ever anticipated that we would see interest rates at 3% and 2%. And when we did, the refinance situation just went absolutely bananas. People took advantage of that opportunity. And so, but you don't have the ability to take advantage of the opportunity if you're not in the water. I just told a client of mine the other day, we don't even know how deep the water is because you won't even get in. You got to get in because she was like, I don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. You got to get in. We're going to give you a noodle, the swimming noodle, so that you don't drown. And then we're going to see what happens. But we're going to be right there with you to guide you and work it out. But you got your noodle and you got in the water. I want to give you all the opportunity I want to give you a noodle, the swimming noodle. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, that little flotation device that you put under your arms when you're trying to just float on the water, and get in the water. So the Selling Sacramento Club 100, we are helping. The goal is for us to help 100 buyers. We're going to be very intentional about reaching that specific number of 100 buyers when the year is over, so we can say we helped 100 Sacramentans get to home ownership. And before the break, I told you guys that I'm excited that we are closing our first buyer from that program. We did a soft opening. We're going to have at least 3 or 4 events throughout the year that we're working on and putting together, and they'll be located around the city in different areas because we really want to open the opportunity and present the information throughout the Sacramento region. So in Elk Grove, in South Sacramento, in Del Paso Heights, we're going to be in those areas. It will be wrapped around fun and food. Y'all know I like to eat, music. It's an opportunity for you to see that this is the mindset that we need to create. We need to live in this mindset, this understanding that this is what we do. This is how we roll. I think I told y'all before, I read the article from the Sacramento Bee. I want to say it was saying it was before the fallout of 2008 that over 40% of African Americans in Sacramento County owned their home. That was like almost every other person that you saw owned their home. That was what they did. As I think about my parents and grandparents and all of their friends and stuff, they all owned their home. Now that I think about it, all of them. But then when I think about my friends and people who are younger than me, not only does everyone not own their home, or a majority, but the mindset has changed. Like, it's telling people, oh, why do you want to own a home? Think about that. That is nuts. That is absolutely nuts when you hear someone say that you shouldn't worry about owning a home. You shouldn't worry about the roof over your head belonging to you. Our ancestors would flip over a dozen times. That is just nonsense. There's so much nonsense out there that this culture is trying to get us to believe. Come on, y'all, snap out of it. Snap out of it. It is possible to have good credit. It is possible to make a lot of money. It is possible to own your own home. It is possible to own more than one home. It's possible to own your own business, or be the supervisor or manager or in charge. Whatever you can imagine yourself doing or seeing or being, do it. Some of you who follow me on Facebook have seen that I gave myself a challenge. I call it a 30-day challenge, 30 days of running and working out, no days off. Today is day 28. No, today is day 29 of 30. Yes, I've lost 5.5 pounds. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but I've also been doing strengthening training. And you all who work out know that muscle weighs more than fat. I am down to a size 4. I was a size 6, wearing a 7. I'm now down to a size 4. I can run nonstop 4 miles. My goal now is to run 8 miles nonstop. I feel so good. The most important thing about my day, next to meditating and talking to God and thinking about the next things I'm going to do in life, is what I'm going to how I'm going to fuel my body. Right now, I'm drinking a pumpkin latte from Pete's Coffee with oat milk, y'all, oat milk. And it's delicious. All you have to do is decide that you're going to do it and make it happen. I'll be bringing you more information about Club 100. But if you go to my website, send me an email and tell me that you just want to have the conversation. I would love to speak with you and get you on the path to homeownership. agentkey.com. And at the top, click on either Chat with Key, or that you are interested in becoming a buyer, a homeowner, and let's have the conversation. And let's take advantage of this opportunity that is presenting itself. Make the decision that you're not going to be left out this time. This is a window of opportunity opening up just for you. And remember, if you are doing what you were created to do, I will see you at the top. Oh, she's coming. Oh, she'll be right here. All right, y'all. Hey, Miss Chanel, girl, how you doing? Okay, you guys, I got to take off. My phone is blowing up. Talk to y'all later. See you next Wednesday. Love you. Bye.